Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Something a little bit different, a little bit special in this video. I've got a plan for one of these little dart models which I've downloaded from AutoZone. This particular model was in the American model in 1967. But anyway, it's a very simple to build model, rubber powered Freeflight, and I'm not going to build it. I'm going to get my wife to build it. I made up a little kit. There's some sticks for her to get on with, 1/8 square. There's a fuselage. There's the propeller assembly already made for her. And I think I've even got a rubber motor made up somewhere for it as well. So I'm going to get her in a minute and explain what to do, and we'll see how she gets on. It's going to be fun. It's a bit like a total beginner building this. Okay, good. Now you're making a start. That's good. She's keen. Quick hello.
Hello.
Oh, see, you're already studying the plan, which is good. So before you've got your cutting mat. You've got a very sharp scalpel. You've got a few sticks of wood, which I've already cut out for you, and ultimately we've got propeller and a rubber band. We cut on the cutting mat, but we're going to build over the plan, so the cutting mat needs to go off to one side, out your way, and you'll find that there's two things to cut here. Let's just look at that bit first. That bit's your one wing, and that's the other wing. You know, when they're built, the frames are going to look like that, and you're going to stick A to A and B to B, so that'll go on there, right? Mm-hmm. And the dihedral is how much angle we have on it. So when they're built, we'll have one wing flat and we'll rest the other one up at 7 inches and glue it together. This is the fin, the sticky up bit at the back.
Yes.
And as you can see from there, the stabilizer, which is the tail plane, this bit here. This is a side view, and it's going to stick underneath the fuselage stick. Okay. Now the fuselage stick comprises of two parts: the front piece, nice heavy piece of wood, and this back piece, which is a lighter piece of wood. Okay. Again, both quite stiff pieces of wood. In fact, the whole thing, it's always worth reading all the notes on the plan before you start. All balsa is medium to hard with grain running lengthwise. Oh, that's interesting. The stabilizer is 1/16 by 1/8 balsa. And you see, I thought it was all 1/8 square because the wing is and tail boom is, but this is 1/8 by 1/16. So I have to find some of that in a minute. But the reason, yeah, and there, the reason it says that for the tail end is by 1/0. It's also 1/16 by 1/8.
And that.
And that. So the only 1/8 bit, in fact, is the back of the tail boom. 1/8 square tail boom. See, now you see, this is why you read the plan, because I've got all this lovely 1/8 square, and we only need one piece. You could get this piece out of the way and put it to one side while it's in front of you. And then we're going to make these pits up actually on the building board, which is flat. So we're going to get that piece and we're going to measure it off, and to do that you just put it over the plan. Here's a pencil. In fact, here's a little tip for you, because you can't see where the exact I'm not exactly sure. What you can do is just extend it up like that. The pencil works.
Nice pencil.
How come pencils don't work? How can a pencil not work? So just see what I'm going to do. Yeah. So just extend it up and down. Yeah, that's it. Good. I wondered if you'd cotton onto that. And then when you lay that over, you can see the line. Excellent. Good. Okay. So we don't use a scalpel to cut through this. You'll be there forever. You can do, but you'll be there forever. Better to use a little saw. And if you rest it on there, then you won't blunt your saw blade too much. If you want to have a practice and just cut the end off, just because you've never used one before, Just sort of cut it nice, and we'll see how square and straight it is. Quite hard, isn't it? Nearly had your fingers, didn't it? Let the sword do the work, and what I tend to do is to...
It's doing the work.
No, this finger's not doing it. The harder you hold that, the less it's going to move, isn't it?
No,
you could put it over the edge if you want. Yeah, whatever. Or we could put it in the vise, and you could do it that way. If you're going to do it on the wood, make sure you're flat, because you don't want to be cutting into this, because you'll blunt your blade. So the wood's only there. You could go over the edge, but be careful, because when you do, you'll find it'll splinter, which is why we're doing it on the wood.
There's no point in putting it over the edge then, is there?
Well, no. Well, it depends how heavy you go to it. If you go to it gently, then it doesn't happen so much. Make sure the blade is completely vertical. Okay. Now, looking at that cut, you've got a little bit of thing. So what I'll show you here, look, I'm just going to take that off. And a good way of doing it is if you put it on the wood, if it happens to be cut at an angle, which it is, yeah?
Yeah.
So if you put it on the wood, it's got to sand it flat, hasn't it? Because everything's square, that's square to that.
Mm-hmm.
But of course you can sand it wonky, so you've got to make sure that this is sort of 90 degrees to the edge, and just sand it a little bit. Bearing in mind you cut it to the exact length, which leads me onto the next tip is, if you cut it to the exact length, when you sand it, it's now short, okay? So it won't matter on that, but it's a good idea to cut it slightly over and sand it to perfection.
I think you'll find that's perfection.
Okay. A good idea is to have a container handy. Here's one. Put all your good bits in a container, then you know you're not going to use it for anything else. Now you're going to use that as your...
Oh, is that the same as that?
Yeah. You're going to use your... I'll give you another tip here actually, although it won't, not quite so important. You're going to use... Is it quite a stiff piece? And is it straight? Because this is going to affect the angle of the stabiliser.
Looks right to me.
Okay. That's not a very big area, so I'd be tempted just to extend that down just a little bit, because it shows you've got a decent amount stuck on there. Roughly, just give or take. Cut it square. Which was the bit you're going to keep.
This bit. Apparently this bit here.
Now, you can start if you want, we'll do the wings second, and we'll do the...
Can't do this bit.
You've done it. That's that bit. That's the end of that. So, the fin is drawn twice, and it's built directly onto the tail boom. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter if you use that or that, it's the same piece. So I may as well use that. So I'm going to build it directly on top of here. So you need the tail boom part, and we need, there's a bit of sort of 16th. It's going to be flat, so it's not going to be up, but it doesn't matter. If it was 1/8 square, it would be all level to the same height, wouldn't it? But it's extra weight. So we're going to use 16th to keep it light.
Why does that go behind there? Why is that behind it?
That is the side view of this.
Oh.
So that bit of wood there is the end of that.
Oh, right.
And that
It's
bit,
not this bit.
and the leading edge is sort of across through there. But now you can't build on this because you'll stick it to the paper, so you need a bit of plastic. Ta-da! Here's a plastic bag, polythene. And we're going to build that as well. Okay, now if you're going to build that first, the pins and that are going to be in your way. So you might want to build the tailplane first. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you turn the plan upside down. Either way it'll be in your way. So we're going to just press some pins into there. We've got some pins. Just to stop it moving about, I suggest one through the paper in that corner and one in that corner. Pull in the plastic reasonably tight. Yeah, that's too big an angle because it won't stop it. It's just going to ride up the pin. Because of that, you can use that would be in your way, you'll knock it. No, just go in vertically. Because it'll press quite hard.
Yeah, well that.
Okay, and that one. Okay. So we want some 1/16 by 1/8 balsa. You haven't got any. That's 1/8 square. This is 1/16, and you're going to strip it down to 1/8.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's easy.
I don't think so.
Let me show you then. It's easy. Here's a little stripper already set to 1/8, and there's a blade. So all you do is to make sure that stays against that face, against there, right? And I'm pushing it sideways to make sure it doesn't wander. I'm pushing the balsa that way. And when you get to there, you don't want to push this side because it will pivot off before you get to the end. So I'm pushing on this side. And then, okay, the blade wants to be a little bit lower. I don't think so. It's only wood. Oh. Cut. Oh, there you go. It's popped off because it was virtually through. All right, got away with that. So that's 1/8 for 1/16. You have a go. I push the blade down a bit now, so it should show it let it know, who's boss. Yeah. And remember which side you've got to keep that close. See, it's riding off already, so make sure you can stop if you need to and position it because it'll always go back to the same place. As you get to the end, don't let it go around the corner. That's it, perfect. Do a couple while you're there. You'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 6. Away you go. I'm going to have a lovely cup of tea. Did someone say a cup of tea? I saw Nick of the Barron Flights using one of these strippers and thought, wow, that's so easy. It's made by Cavan. And you're going to set it to any thickness of wood that you like. Easy peasy. That's enough. You can always cut some more in a minute. When you put a blade down, always put it sideways somewhere, else you'll put the rest of the blade tip on. Okay, so put the board to one side, tuck it up to there. Although you'll need it in a minute to cut the strips, probably. So leave it back on the top. I know.
I would if there was any space to put it.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it?
I see. This isn't really a very...
So we're going to start with...
This work area is atrocious.
Well, if I put it over there, you wouldn't better reach it. Now, you don't need to cut that to length. You can do, but if you make it over length, when you stick these on, you can just cut it to perfection and sand it afterwards. That's if you were following it down, but because you're not, so you're going to have to cut it to length. So he's doing the right thing. So cut it to length. And before you cut it to length, is that edge good enough to...
Not really very nice.
Have a look at the other one. If it's not, you'll have to clean one end up. And you can use the blade on that scalpel. Just try it.
Can I?
Try it. You might find it easier. Don't cut on Chris's sticker, that. And you might find you've got to rock it, slide it through. Yeah. Now, does that look square?
Nope.
Right. You ride it up. That's it. And I would just put that over there. You can see where it ends. So just mark it and then move it to the cutting board. This will go through your plastic. If you go through your plastic, then the glue will go through the plastic. And we can sand the frame afterwards, so it won't be the end of the world. You want to have a practice on that bit of wood, although you can probably use that in a minute. Is it through the bolster and into the... No,
So.
that's not it, wobbling about.
Well, I can't push it into that. It's not even soft.
Well, it is quite soft. What you can do is to hammer it if you wanted, but you got it lined up nicely. It's a bit of a steep angle, but if you put it through at this angle, opposite way to that, then it can't. It's opposing each other instead of pushing the same way. Now, this is the fun part. This is where it gets really interesting. You have to cut that angle.
Oh.
See, it's model aeroplane larks, piece of cake. Just push it forward, slice it through as well, makes it easier sometimes. Now you want to take a bit more off there because it's got to go down to a point basically, isn't it? So you've lost a little bit of your gluing area there. Ooh, all right, you're going to try it like that, are you? Freehand.
Yep.
You reckon? Is it really, really good? Really tight?
Yeah.
Okay then. Mark the middle cut.
What, at that angle?
Exactly on, no, on this line here. Exactly on it. Now it's quite important you get this completely upright. Okay. Just offer it up. You can clean the cut up in a minute if necessary, but what's good is that this piece here that you've just cut off, by turning it over, should be exactly that for that. And if you cut that lovely and square, that'll butt up perfectly.
Well, it will when I've sanded it.
Don't sand too much off because you haven't got any wood to play with. You can do it by hand?
Yep.
You're doing that so it can't be flat. You've got to keep it absolutely, that's why it's easier to do it. That's certainly good enough. Now I'll give you another tip. Yep, do that.
Don't you dare touch it. Don't you dare.
That's funny, she says it was fitting perfectly before I sanded it.
Yeah, that's good enough. That'll fit in a minute.
Don't worry about cutting that over the plan because all you have to do is to duplicate that bit there. So lay that exactly over there and follow the line. And then you've got your two pieces.
Gosh, I can't cut it in the first place. I don't know how you think I'm going to follow a line that's...
Well, mark it to start with. Well, that's why I said practice on a piece of wood and get a good technique going.
That mark.
Don't mark it. The pencil line will be a millimetre from the edge. Just use that edge to cut it. To keep the nut blade exactly in place. And yeah, perfect. So that's your right hand. Just offer it up before you. And it's a good idea to keep the bits that you cut. It should be identical, but you know, sometimes you want to.
That doesn't fit.
Try it the other way around.
Just needs sanding.
Are you sure? Try it the other way around. Just make sure things are, I meant actually on lengthwise. We know that's a good fit. So it didn't fit very well that way. So try it that way just in case you've reversed it accidentally. So looking at that, you want to take the heel off. I call that the heel and that the toe. So,
Yeah.
so you want to take the heel off, so don't take any off the toe. But it mustn't be curved, it's got to be flat, so keep going until you've reached the toe. You can go forward and back, it's up to you. Let me just show you this. Keep it not leaning either way. Yeah, try that. It's all technique. Or you can do it against a piece of wood, which I find a lot more controllable. Happy?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that glued up then. I suggest you squeeze some out, make a little pile here. That'll do. Right. A little tip for you, so as you don't get things the wrong way round or anything, when you glue them, you can put a little mark there, so you know that's the top up bit. So now you can go like that, but you can always put it back in the exact position, can't you?
Uh-huh.
Right, that is end grain, and it's like lots of little tubes, so if you glue it and stick it on, most of the glue's gone up the tube, very little stays in the joint. So using this scrap piece, so you want to just dip it in, take the surplus off, and that is going to dry in the tubes, so just give it a minute, and when you do it again, it's not going to soak up. This side doesn't matter because you're not end grain, it's side on, so it won't soak into this. So it's just these four ends, you need to do that too. Pardon me. You put lots on it, you scrape it off on your hand. Did you notice I just got the surplus off on the plastic? Perfect, lovely job. Take the surplus off, else you're going to have a lump drying and it'll affect your joint. So it's already soaked in. That's fine, use your finger, that's the best bit. Okay, now you can probably go back to your first bit. Now, I wouldn't put glue on this end because it's just going to run everywhere while you get the next bit. So we can glue the next bit to that. So just do the end that's going to stick to the frame, trailing edge. That's fine, and just wipe your finger off on the paper as it leaves horrible things. Is your dot in place? Yep, smash in. So now you've got to hold that in there and push a couple of pins in. Okay, glue that up both ends and drop it in place. Don't stint yourself, but it's better to have glue squeezing out than a gap. But there shouldn't be any gaps if we've spent time doing our joints. Got your dot showing up. Yep. Look at that, hey, look at that. So that's the tailplane built. The fin's exactly the same, except the bottom piece is your fuselage extension piece, which is that piece there, wasn't it? Easy peasy. I'm going to have a cup of tea. I'll be back in half an hour. Also, it's a good idea to think, how are you going to, this particular one, look, you could leave over length, and when it's dry, just cut it off, just following the line of that, so you don't have to worry about that so much as long as you leave it over length. Except this one, of course, has to be precise. If it was slightly shorter, say you cut it 16 inches short, it wouldn't matter if that was a slightly different angle, because it's just what it is, you know. But don't forget to do the end grain, and I'll be back What do you want? What do you want?
I won't tell him. Bring my own hammer next time.
So yeah, excellent, good, nice job. So when that's dry, you can unpin it, and there's tips I can give you for that, and then you can saw through that and sand it with the edge of the wood, get everything nice and flat.
Should be right length as well.
Next stop is to cut this and make up the palette. I'm now going to make the palette. This shape here.
I can't see that very well.
Make the pillars of the
A bit short.
I'm not going to use this shape here. I'm going to make the pillars of the
It's a bit short, isn't it?
I'm not going to use this hip pocket. I'm going to make the pillars up.
Is that not this?
This side is set for the knife. I'm not going to use this hip pocket. This is a backup of the hot plates. There's a useful backup.
Well, that's one done. Do the other one. You
Make it.
pre-glued the ends, didn't you?
I've just done that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I need to. I've made that too long though, because now I can't push that up there. See,
just get in there and cut it off. Pull it up.
it's not the right angle.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise that went out. Oh well, that's my fault.
Oh no, you bodged it.
No, well, you're going to round those corners anyway, because they might take somebody's eye out. They might have taken somebody's eye, so we're going to round.
Well, I won't ask you for any help again. Now you really bodged that, haven't you, Mr. Harvey?
No,
I
don't
suppose
try
it
and
might
go
be
in.
salvageable.
Yeah, it's salvageable, only nobody'll know. That's what I always say to the camera. Nobody's going to know. Crack on, you're doing a good job.
Well, I can't do any worse than you've just done. It's funny because some of these pins go in really easily, and others I can't get in at all. I think they must be blunt. They're probably covered in super glue.
This has this is going to be covered just on the left hand side. This is going to be covered just on the
I've done that.
On my way.
I have to just leave this to dry now.
Yeah, if you're happy with the joint zippers.
Well, I can't trim them until I...
No, quite. That looks very good. These are particularly good. You've done a nice job there. But the proof of the pudding is turning it over and letting us inspect it. So that's all the components made and drying. You could cover these, but we're going to do it all in one go. You can pick what colour you like to do it in. We're going to cover it in plastic, so we'll use spray adhesive.
Ooh.
And you'll find it's pretty straightforward. There she is, looking pleased with herself. And you can come back tomorrow and cut those off, sand it, and then we'll put the covering on and glue the wings together. And I'll show you a couple more little tricks. Okay, next morning, and you're going to take it off, remembering how to support the structure as you pull the pins out. There you look at that, so far so good. Don't pick the thing up from this. That's it, you got it. You got it. Turn them over, have a look at the joints. Well, that one.
Well, there's a bit of glue there.
That's all right. You can nick that off. Too bad. So if you
Oh,
use
actually, I was going to say, but because I haven't trimmed it yet,
no,
so that might look shoddy.
no, it doesn't look shoddy. No, I mean when things are first off the board, they always look a bit shoddy. But you can just get the scalpel. I mean, you can cut this off anyway. Just you might want to cut it. I don't know. Do you want to cut it on the back of a bit of wood?
Shouldn't have thought so.
Look.
I didn't do that.
That's not a sticker. Yeah,
I didn't do that.
Okay.
I didn't do that.
Because that's going to be glued to that one. Obviously, it's only going to glue along the upper corner of the wood instead of the whole
so it's
lot.
got to be flat.
So, is it a good idea to sand an angle on it now?
I'd have thought so.
But
yeah.
you're also going to be gluing it to the motor stick, so that'll also be at a funny angle. So once it's joined, you could sand it flat that side as well. No, sir.
They actually feel flat to me anyway. My glue bits are pretty flat anyway. Okay.
It's easier to cover them first because once they're stuck together, apart from the delicateness of it, you've got to cover that side and then cover that side. And if you had to pin it down, it's just too much. So we cover the pieces first and then we stick them together.
Oh.
Cool, look at that, look. There's an aeroplane in that box. Can you see it?
Yeah.
This is only going to be covered one side. Okay, everything's only covered one side on this plane. And because of this, the fact that it's not the same thickness wood, obviously we've got to cover this side. So if we're covering that side, and that's going to glue onto there. I expect you were thinking about this in the night.
Yeah, of course there was.
As that, well, when we come to glue it, actually, we'll glue it on this side. They've got it dotted to sort of glue it on the other side. Doesn't make any difference apart from the fact if we glue it on this side, the fin is then more centralised with the stick. If we glue it on that side, it's way off to one side, isn't it? Can you see that?
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah. We glue it that side, it's pretty much in the centre.
Yeah.
Because the covering we're going to use is not tissue, because if we tissue it, it could warp the structure unless we're very, very careful with pre-shrinking the tissue and using very thin down dough. So what we're going to use is, in fact, see, you wouldn't have that problem if we glued it to the paper and then you just cut the paper out, it would be covered, finished. But we don't want to do that. We want to do it.
We want to do it the hard way. We don't want to do it the easy way.
What
Cause
colour do you want? Blue, green, yellow?
Purple.
No, that's tissue. I haven't got any purple plastic. Orange.
Orange.
I'm spraying on Super 77 by 3M, and I'm going to do it outside because it's slightly smelly, only slightly. Just push it all around the frame.
I was pulling them.
Yeah, you won't be able to. It's stuck.
Stick it?
Yeah, you won't be able to pull it out. You can't take it off. That's one down. This is the sticky side on that one, facing you. Facing you. And of course, I've had to make sure that I've glued the opposite side.
Yeah. Have you glued the opposite
Yes,
side?
I have. Sticky side down. If I haven't, we'll blame
Sticky
you.
side down.
Sharp scalpel, cutting board, cut reasonably close. Well, cut just completely close.
Yeah.
and cut out your wing panels, cut out all of it. On this one, of course, you've only got to,
No, I can see that.
but you won't be able to cut it until you turn it over. But, down a bit. If it starts to pull, if the blade isn't absolutely sharp, it starts to pull, hold it at a lower angle. See it goes wrinkly, just run your finger down just to smooth it up. See that?
Can I hairdryer it?
No. If you do, it will shrink, but if you do, it will warp the structure because it's not up to. But just run your finger across it just to, because it kind of like the glue kind of like melts the plastic a little bit. And if you run your finger over it, it presses it in. I find it does a better job. Then the other side, you know, your blade's not warming. Okay then, right, good. So there's your components. We won't need the building boards, we'll pop that under the corner. So you could glue the wings together and then glue the fuselage together and let it all go away and let it all set. So we've got to glue the wings, so we need a 7-inch
piece of wood.
Yeah, so you're going to run a bead of white glue down there and put it on. Now I suggest you put some weights on that side. Stop it moving about. Put one there because this is the side you want to be absolutely flat, that end. So do you want the big one or are you happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Down slightly, there's a little bit of bounce there. So all you're going to do is run a bead of white glue down there and a little jar and put it there like that. Yeah, so that will, in fact that's perfect. Look, it supports it right on the cross brace of the wing. That's close enough.
That's close enough.
Make sure you get a bit on the end grain because it'll soak it up each end. In fact, put enough on for both sides. So a little bit of a surplus. It's not nothing's hypercritical. It's just slightly concerned. Is there a gap in the middle there?
Well, that's what I looked
yeah,
like.
we'll put something
Some
in
more
there.
glue?
No, we'll just push the 2 bits of wood together in a minute. So is that 7 inches? Roughly. Look at that. It's close enough.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. So the important thing is that this front has to be down. Otherwise, you'll be presenting the wing at a different angle. Yeah. So you're just going to glue that to that, but it has to be glued up at that angle, doesn't it? That funny angle.
Oh, so you can't do that until you've put a bit of wood under it.
Well, you could use the tailplane, or you could just use a piece of the offcut, the tailplane, which is the same. So that's just got to glue onto there and then clamp, like you say. But it's not easy to clamp it when it's flush with the bottom. So all you've got to do is glue that to that and clamp it. Peg wise, let's see what pegs I've got. So you just need a little bit of white glue where that overlaps. Good. Okay, looking good. We'll let that set, and then we'll. Did you want to ever get bending a pin now? From slipping off the hook. Hello.
And then about there.
Yeah. Thought you couldn't bend one.
So did I.
There you go.
It's not exactly a pin though, is it?
Let's see if you can cut it. See, cut it. You've got the full depth of the thing really, so you can afford to go a little bit. Don't mind that. This looks perfect. Yeah, you'll get more leverage right down in the end where you are. Yeah, except we'll flick it away and you'll lose it. So. Yes, well there we are. I was just going to say I tend to put my hand up, hold one bit, and at least it well done.
Yeah, well I can't.
Okay, so
I need both hands to.
yeah, you did actually.
That's it.
Right. We'll come back a couple of hours and assemble it.
Is that enough?
Yeah, it's great. Good. Okay. How did you feel about that then?
Easy peasy.
Okay, it's been a couple of hours, so have a look at it. Take it apart.
Ta-da!
You got a new wing on the back. It's only if that's glued to the bottom, right, then you can get that level sitting on the thing, and when you put the wings on, you can measure up equally both sides. This is more glue on that. The other option is to put lots of pin pricks in it so the glue sort of penetrates into the wood. Because there's glue there in the middle, isn't it? So it's stuck extra hard to the actual white glue. Right.
Is that enough?
Yeah. So put the fuselage and offer it up into position. So imagine it's got glue on it. You want to weigh that down then, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 on one at the front, 1 at the back. Have a look at your wing join underneath while you're there. Let's knock that over so you don't knock it.
Oh,
Still looks damp, doesn't it? It's not goes clear when it's dry. We're not sticking it on yet anyway, so put that to one side.
is
then.
that enough glue on it though?
Well, we're gonna, when we glue it to the top of the fuselage,
oh right.
we'll run a bead of glue down in there. It'll sit on its trailing edge, that's it. Excellent. You might want to consider fixing that tailplane down a bit, because when you put that on, everything's moving around. So it's a sort of sometimes a good idea just to make sure that that isn't going to go anywhere, so that will keep it in place. Just while I should move those weights out of the way as well until you're ready.
So do I need to push the wing?
Pull this one, no, or yeah, if we pull the fuselage across this way, like that. Oops. Yeah, be careful with that. I would put that across there like that. And then just have a sort of general look at it and think, how does that look? We'll let that set and come back after lunch. That should be set rather nicely. Before you move it, I would suggest that actually you could leave it there and put the wings straight on. So you know where they're going to go. Offer it up to see how it fits.
That one's going to go like that.
You can put that one when it's done right in the middle. The other good thing about you making one is you now know how to handle one. So when you're winding the hanger rat, you know where to hold it and what's delicate and what isn't. I wouldn't worry about getting it off with your finger. That looks pretty good. Okay. A big moment. You just wait a bit, it'll go off a little bit, and then you can put the small ones in, unless you want to just go for it. On your elbows, you know how easy you knock it. Oh, this looks rather clever. Very nice. What a great idea.
People have different ideas
Yeah,
of how to...
I'd never have thought of that. Never thought of it. Right, so we'll come back in a few hours.
Oh yeah.
Be very careful now. There's a tissue. If you wanted to fit an undercarriage, you could, because I've got some that I never used on the hanger rats. Very, very light. What's your next move?
To take it off the board and
Okay.
put this little pin thing in.
The rear motor hook. Okay, let's bend you down a bit.
So First thing.
Ooh, look at that. What's the gap look like? You need to run some more glue in there or not?
No. No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
That's fine.
Looks
Right.
good.
It does look good.
Looks good.
But also you can see the inside bend of the wire is round, isn't it? And the wood is square.
Does
So
that
you-
matter?
Well, if you file a little bit off that corner with that little file that we had earlier, it'll sit in our treat, won't it?
Where am I supposed to put this?
Well, as close to your finger as you dare.
I don't like the sound
All
of
right,
that.
just move that down so as it's touching the wood a bit. Look, it's like a gap. That's it. Just put the CA where you just touched it,
There.
and yeah, go on, and down the shaft, down that way.
This.
On the corner where it comes around the corner, go on over the top, down the side.
That's not going to stay on.
What isn't? There you got to bend them. You got to bend bend these upright. Little. That's fine. How's that look?
Oh. She's taking a tumble.
Yeah, that down there. Bing!
No idea where it went.
So there we go. That's your undercarriage done. And we're just waiting for that to dry. Your rubber motor's ready. Have you stretched it?
Yeah, of course I have.
That's a big one, isn't it?
Push that one there. Like so.
Ta-da. Steady gal. Anyway. And you want to stretch it when you wind it. Go back a little bit. Go back.
Which way does it go?
Clockwise, that's it.
Is that
Count them
right?
as you go. Well, it won't really matter. It'll just keep going until it fills up with knots. And then when it's on, just give it a little, just to sort of separate it out. So you can get probably loads more turns on it. And hold the fuselage, but don't inhibit the motor. And let it live. You aim this up. It'll not live. Wow, does it feel like it's pulling?
Yeah.
What's happened there? Does it actually stop turning?
Yeah.
Ah, there's a knot there.
It's
That
got tangled up. Oh.
It's one of those things. And it won't undo all of the motor, but bunch up here or there, and that's what makes it do funny things. Like now, it probably, because the weight, the bulk of the motor's at the back, make it tail heavy,
Alright.
which is probably a little bit on the long side. But what I wanted to do was see where the centre of gravity was. Let's just hook that back on. Where does it balance under the aeroplane? Does it feel wherever it balances? Oh, about 50%. It might be tail heavy, so we might have to add a little bit of weight to the nose.
Out there.
Yeah, probably have to add a little bit of weight to the nose, but until we fly it, you won't know. So what you can do is test glide it in the garden.
Alright.
It's better to test glide it without the propeller on, and as it comes off quite easily, we can just weigh the undercarriage, because that'll come off as well, weigh the undercarriage and the propeller, and then just put the equivalent amount of weight on the nose and just test glide it. But for now, that's all you can do. So there it is. Finished.
Oh, sorry.
That's cool. Well done. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're not, and watch out for the maiden flight. That's what you say. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button and watch out for the maiden flight.
And a thumbs up.
And a thumbs up.
Yeah, brilliant. Well done. It says all.